Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Now that the 2010s decade is ending, which trends are the most regrettable? This isn't a prank, it's a social experiment wherein we're going to see if people get mad when we walk up to them and punch them as hard as we can. I hadn't watched reality TV for years and took a job at a university where the TV had to be on at all times and students would come in to watch. They switch on MTV and it's a half-hour prank show where they run up to people on the street and spoil the end of movies and shows that just came out. Part of my job unofficially became having everything I planned to watch next weekend ruined for me. Fuck you, MTV. I'm no lawyer, but I think that's more than enough justification for punching someone in the face. Just all the family YouTube channels in general. You mean exploit our children for views channels? Yeah, I'm talking Skylader boy and girl. I was astounded when I went over to a friend's house and her kid was watching one of these. They are so terrible. My niece is obsessed with them and they're just marketing ploys to sell toys to kids. The whole episode was just look at this toy. And I have this toy. It's sick. Being a dick to people on camera for likes from strangers. That simply continued from the 2000s. Happy slapping was a real annoyance. Even earlier. The You've Been Tangoed advert from 1992 really caught on in schoolyards in the UK and Ireland. They reworked the ad and replaced the smack with a kiss. Astronomer here. No one asked me about the flat earth theory until just a few years ago. The fact that it's picked up again is just so astounding if you think about it. Frankly though, it's just part of a greater trend of anti-intellectualism, and the idea that you can now choose your own facts. I started posting about astronomy on Reddit because the misinformation I read annoyed the fork out of me, and most people are really appreciative to hear the truth. However, the cynic in me notes that astronomy facts very rarely affect our lives the way some other settled science can. And I know plenty of people out there are a huge fan of space and will fully ignore facts when it comes to, say, climate change, because the truth there is unpalatable and affects them more immediately. Carl Sagan said in the IoTs in the demo Haunted World that I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide, almost without noticing, back into superstition and darkness. I think it's pretty clear this trend began in earnest in this decade, but I hope we will be able to right the ship a bit in the next one. Edit, lots of people telling me that they don't think there are flat earthers IRL, or that it's not that big a deal. I disagree. People who get into one conspiracy theory as weird as flat earth aren't usually prone to stopping there. Second, I actually have colleagues who had a flat earther who kept coming in and threatening the astronomers in the department for their role in the conspiracy theory, and making the young women students feel very uncomfortable. He kept coming back onto campus despite a ban for some time, and I'm told it was really disturbing. I'm sure many people are joking about flat earth. Unfortunately, some not in on the joke couldn't tell the difference and started listening. Astronomer here. Must be /U/Andromeda 321. Asterisk checks asterisk. Yup, it is. Don't ever change. https://gallery/ea1lox7.png. You're too kind. Thank you, Andromeda. I always love reading your posts. Thanks, I appreciate it. You do wonder some days if you're shouting into the void or if anyone is listening. Edit, thanks, void. That weird mustache trend that was popular around 2013, you know, when teenagers would have mustaches on the phone cases, as jewelry and whatnot. Don't forget the nerd glasses. Also, mermaid or unicorn themed everything that was happening for a while. Edit, when I say the nerd glasses I am talking about the fake glasses that every school-aged person wore to look quirky. I'm not talking about actual glasses. And bacon. Like, yeah, bacon's good, but damn, it's just a food. Yes, the mustache finger tattoos WTH. Oh man, I bet people are regretting those. The obnoxious challenge culture. Edit, all these upvotees went to my head. A few were harmless and even helpful, like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. It's the dangerous ones like eating Tide Pods that's stupid. The Tide Pod Challenge wasn't real, right? Just internet hysteria played it up, but no one was doing it. Well, at least a significant number. Clickbait. I think you mean, these photos of the top 10 worst clickbait articles will shock you. That one time we had a clown problem. In 2016, the sentence "look out for the killing clowns while you go catch Pokemon" was completely valid. Kony 2012. Oh my god, that was this decade. The 2010s is split pretty evenly into 2 decades. 1991 and 1998 looked very different from each other, just like 2019 and 2013 seem like almost different realities. I'd say 2010 to 2015 is really different from 2016 to 2019. Gangnam Style was 2013, but I couldn't imagine something like that taking off in 2019 tbh. Edit, sorry, Gangnam Style was 2012. Rebooting everything for the sake of nostalgia instead of coming up with new ideas. It's like postmodernism. Postmodernism. Crappy video games that is only there so you can pay to play. This isn't going to stop until people stop paying for it. Addiction is real. Seemingly endless stream of movie remakes and sequels. Most poor, done mostly to make a quick easy buck off the name of the previous movie, and sadly most show a lack of creativity and original thinking. I'm curious when the superhero movie genre is going to start fading again. I admittedly enjoy a lot of them, but the past decade has clearly been an industry seizing upon a gold mine of profits. When you already have a story written for an action-based summer blockbuster and the formula to produce them has become more streamlined, there's no wonder why the explosion has happened. The industry has churned out movies so fast that we're into 8th and 9th sequels within just a decade. It's crazy. If I had to guess, right now, Marvel has been the only thing truly keeping the superhero genre hot, though at 2 to 3 movies a year. They had a lot of output, and I think a good number of people were going to a lot of the films because they felt committed to seeing the end of the story. Now it's over. Sure, Marvel will make Phase 4, but I think they have run out of good ideas and audience momentum, plus, their most iconic and memorable actors left, and they never got any of the next generation to stand out in most people's minds. Hollywood has always operated this way. The public loved westerns in the 40s, so every studio got into cowboy movie production for 20 years. Later, it was gangster movies, and when the video rentals took off, cheaper genre movies for horror and sci-fi fans flooded the market. IITs felt like all rom-coms, and now we are here. This too shall pass. I took some film studies classes and one of my profs, who was an animator and worked for Disney, Elva, etc., said that sequels were always a thing purely for numbers. I believe she said that sequels were guaranteed to make something like 30 to 40% whatever the original title did, no matter how bad they were, because people trust the original was good. So some companies she worked for would put the cheaper B/C team on direct-to-TV sequels that didn't need much design/concept work or polish, while the rest of the studio ramped up for the next original story as a way to maintain income over the years between original releases. Not sure which companies, might be neither listed, but I got the impression it was an industry trend. These are all kids' movies, mind you, and kids will watch anything, so it might be related to that. Not saying it's a good thing for the properties, just that there is a reason it could be necessary. Unless you're an enormous conglomerate with bottomless pools of money destroying your own properties for short-term profit. Disney has a long history of doing exactly as you describe. There have been direct-to-home video sequels to just about every film they made during the IITs. Anti-intellectualism, refusing to believe experts in their field over some crazy person on the internet. I think it got worse this decade and I hope we leave it here. Edit, yes, you should use statistical analysis to critically analyze data presented. Yes, you should use common sense. And people deciding that they are an intellectual because they believe something strongly. I have always called this emotional logic vs rational logic, aka logic. This must be true because I feel it is. Social media making everyone feel like they need to be heard. It's one of the main reasons why stuff like anti-vaxxers, MLMs, Nazis, cancel culture, flat earthers, etc. exists. Misinformation is just spread like a disease within echo chambers like that. Social media has made me feel like everyone needs to shut the fuck up. I always say the internet is great because it gave everyone a voice. But I also say the internet sucks because it gave everyone a voice. I think you could have just ended your post at social media. Ironic to post that on Reddit, but I guess it's just a sign of how dominant social media is, that we mainly use social media to complain about it. Social media influencers. You'll enjoy the 2020s, since companies start to realize that their marketing budgets are way better spent at some influencer than to spread old-fashioned commercials. Source: I'm paying influencers to use our products. I followed a bunch of girls I went to high school in hopes they'd post cool shit, then immediately unfollowed them as they posted nothing but ads for bikinis and lingerie. I think you overestimate people's interest in looking at ads. The majority of interaction these girls get is horny dudes, who are not going to be buying bikinis. See, famous girl with millions of followers who failed to sell even 20 items from her clothing line.